Hey guys, today we will explore the fascinating theme of what happens in the spirit world when we dedicate ourselves to fasting and prayer. In the story of Moses and the Amalekites, we find a fascinating account of spiritual battle. When Moses led Israel's children against the Amalekites, God gave him a peculiar instruction, climbing the top of the hill and lifting his hands toward heaven. In the history of Moses and the Amalekites, the importance of Moses' physical obedience goes beyond the mere action of lifting his hands. Each movement of his hands symbolized his confidence and submission to God in the midst of battle. In the history of Moses and the Amalekites, the connection between physical obedience and the release of angels in spiritual battle is a fundamental aspect to explore. When Moses raised his hands in obedience to God's instructions, he not only demonstrated his submission and confidence in the Lord, but also triggered a powerful answer in the spiritual world. In analyzing the history of Moses and the Amalekites from the perspective of physical obedience to release spiritual power, we can highlight the importance of the continuous commitment of the Israeli leader during battle. As his arms remained erected toward heaven, Moses not only demonstrated his submission to God, but also his role as intercessor and spiritual warrior for his people. In the history of Moses and the Amalekites, the presence of angels as servants sent to the heirs of salvation, as described in Hebrews chapter 1, reveals the powerful performance of heavenly hosts in the spirit world. Angels are described as God-sent spirits to minister to those who will inherit salvation, demonstrating their readiness to intervene for the children of God. By exploring the connection between our physical obedience and the liberation of God's supernatural power, it is essential to understand that our actions in the physical world have a direct impact on the spirit world. In the modern era, many churches have focused exclusively on the inner aspect of worship and obedience, neglecting the importance of physical actions. Excessive focus on emotions and intellectuality has led many faithful to underestimate the value of external faith practices. By exploring the practice of fasting as a physical act of obedience and consecration to God, we enter into a deep and transforming spiritual ground. Fasting is not simply food abstention, but a tangible demonstration of our dependence on the Lord and our willingness to sacrifice the natural in search of the supernatural. In Daniel's story, we find an impressive account of spiritual search and consecration through fasting. For 3 weeks, Daniel abstained from desirable foods, dedicating herself entirely to the search for the presence of God. This type only comes out with prayer and fasting. This statement of Jesus reveals the deep connection between prayer, fasting, and spiritual authority. When we dedicate ourselves to prayer, we enter into intimate communion with the Heavenly Father, strengthening our spiritual connection and our ability to intercede for others. If you want to experience a new level of spiritual connection and release of divine power, consider practicing fasting and prayer regularly in your life. May this reflection inspire us to seek greater intimacy with God through fasting and prayer. Remember, each physical act can trigger an answer in the spirit world. Until the next video.